You said you wanted to talk about Overwatch.
I
Richard.
wanted to just because it's a good little segue. Like I look, listen, I didn't even know the premise for this episode. I didn't look at the chat. I just turned up. I'm like, right, okay, I'm gonna freestyle this one, right? So, but there was an interesting kind of tweet that I saw, which was M80, the kind of NA organization. And look, trust me, it's all ended in disaster anyway, which is another reason why I'm just bringing it up because I'm an asshole. But a journalist that obviously I have a lot of time for, Eminem's. He's been on Duncan's shows, and most people know him. Writes over at Dust 2, and he's a volunteer at Liquipedia. He's a great guy. He saw the announcement by M80. The North American org saying they were moving into Overwatch because obviously with the death of the Overwatch League, we've now got this thing OWCS. And he said, Eminem's, that investing in Overwatch in the year of our Lord 2024 is the largest possible canary in the coal mine that your org must be involved with the Esports World Cup stipend program. Because obviously the ESL are running OWCS. Saudi Arabia are the current reigning world champions for Overwatch in the Overwatch World Cup, which is also just like...
It's too good, isn't it? That's how you know it's a simulation. It can't be.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be Trace. Not here, you won't, I'm afraid, love. We don't talk about you. So anyway, let me get his founder and CEO, MAT Marco. He replied and said, appreciate you, but respectfully disagree here. It's a great esport, strong viewership, low cost right now, and potential upside if OWCS succeeds as an open format. I think the entire season will be fun to watch and interesting to see how Blizzard approaches it if it becomes popular. Sometimes you just have to believe, brother. You will notice, of course, he didn't deny the stipend allegations, but whatever. We're not here to play Gary Gotcha, okay? But I wanted to just pick your brains about this one because, you know, this is such a thing for us esports boomers to talk about because this kind of speculative pickup and the belief that a game could grow and, you know, you could have for a minimum investment, maybe be part of the next big thing. And we're getting in the ground floor. Yeah, that's right. Esports was all crypto wankers before crypto, basically. So I wanted to pick your brains because first of all, I don't think, even if it was at the lowest cost, I don't think it's a good idea. But I wanted to just sort of, you know, ask you what you think about pickups like this, and do you think we're going to see a resurgence of people now trying to like min max with their esports pickups and that sort of thing?
Gaming is believing, Richard. Gaming is believing.
Yeah, true. You are right.
M80 already dropped their Overwatch.
Yeah. Look, we'll tell the funny story at the end. Let's have a sensible discussion, and then we'll get to the bit. Racist Discord messages, team dropped. How's your investment today, dickhead? It's a setup, Monte. It's a setup. Come along.
Okay. I didn't know if you do. But it is like quite hilarious. Yeah, fair enough. But it is hilarious. Like, it's always the fucking Overwatch community, right? It's always them who are like the weird racist / pedophiles. It's weird how it doesn't really come out that much.
All right, that's the most out of pocket thing said on the episode, and it's come from Monte. Holy shit, what happened?
What do you mean? How's that out of pocket?
I nearly reflexively said, "Be careful, don't." Wait, it's Monte. It's Monte calling Overwatch players pedophiles.
I mean, the joke is, obviously, that's actually a way in which the game and lore of the game Overwatch is incredibly actually lacking in diversity. There is no character to represent most of the people on that subreddit, which would be a crypto racist paedophile. And where's that character? If you want representation, wait, you guys are crying out for it.
Guys, I'm glad I brought this topic up. I see no problems with where this discussion's at. So as I was saying, do you think we'll see more min-maxing pickups
so
like this?
I mean, literally, Richard, I think you hit the nail on the head, is that the reason why, presumably, that ESL Faceit want to operate the Overwatch circuit as it exists right now is that it's one more game to add to the Esports World Cup. And the reason why orgs are going to be fielding Overwatch rosters is because they want a cut of the money of doing well at a, because as we've discussed previously, you guys are unaware, basically there's a giant prize pool of money where the orgs that do the best are like across multiple esports. So basically every result that happens at the Esports World Cup, you get a certain number of points. And the teams and orgs that do the best across all of the tournaments that are at the Esports World Cup get an additional multi-million-dollar bonus.
I appreciate the way, in a sense, they've recapitulated elements of CGS in that way too, which is like, I am just trapped in it. I realize now, Richard, like this is the afterlife.
History rhymes, Duncan.
It's not hell, and
History
it's not
rhymes.
It's purgatory. I'm just in purgatory. Nothing can ever happen. Or
we're all in
change.
Carcosa now.
Exactly.
It's night. It's fucking night. It's night country. That's where we are. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on, Monte. I was gonna.
So I do think that this is going to be a continual theme, which is that there are going to be kind of orgs that want to pick up low cost Overwatch rosters to see how the circuit does under ESL, and I think they have done some smart things, such as integrate Overwatch major competitions into DreamHacks, right, which allows them to use resources. ESL to use resources that they've already deployed into creating DreamHacks to have like esports finals there, which is really just a return to, I don't know, 2014 or whatever, right? Where we would have the DreamHacks be the finals of major esports like online circuits. But I think teams are going to get into this because there's a way that they can do this on a relatively inexpensive basis. And they're going to want to because it gives them additional shots at winning a lot of money or winning a lot of money at the Esports World Cup. So I think the cost is going to be quite low at this point in time. And it's a good way for teams to ingratiate themselves to ESL Faceit Group and thereby the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is where they are going to start to find a lot of value.
I know way less about this than all of you guys. But I'm now so stuck on the CGS metaphor because I wish this thing had like similar match setup where you might have the best Counter-Strike team of all time, like really good teams and everything else, but then your fighter just loses 10-0 every single game and it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah,
and it just completely wrecks your organization. That was some of the best entertainment in the 2007-2008 era.
Oh, mate, the moment I knew that league could never even work as an entertainment product was when Complexity, the team you're talking about, had the best CS source team, and they used to win, because in Counter-Strike, you win like, I think theirs was like 9 something, so you win like 9-7 or something.
Yeah, it was MR9.
So you don't get to have as many point differential because you're never going to win 9-0. But the problem was, obviously, Jason Lake had signed that the woman fighter who was just like the girlfriend of Monte from 3D. So she lost every time 0-5. So basically that immediately offset the win of your Counter-Strike team. And so there was one match where the fucking swoozy guy who was like the male beat-em-up fighter lost a match, but in losing it won the match overall for the franchise. And so as he lost a match on stage, people mobbed him and were like, bro, you did it, we won. And I remember just thinking like, this is so fucking stupid as a premise. Like I, an actual fan of these games, are now going to like close the X and shut it down. Like, there's no way anyone's watching this. There's no way. That's why that whole concept is just about, it's actually a clever way to tie into what we said before. It's just a really clever way the Saudis have actually found a way to subsidize the small esports. Because the joke is, and Richard knows this, the people in those small esports, like StarCraft 2, now Overwatch, if anything, that's their perfect moment to be like, I'm just happy we have a small scene and we don't have any of that horrible capitalism. By the way, Richard, the idea of the Overwatch sub, not only balls deep in identity politics, but they're literally the sort of people where if you click their Reddit account, they're posting in like r/late stage capitalism about how bad everything is. Yeah. Now suddenly all think it's brilliant that their game has a new like injection of fucking cash from Saudi Arabia. Like these people are beyond parody. So like, yeah, the sad thing is that's really why that is super attractive, because if you are one of these massive orgs to tie in, like you may as well pick up the StarCraft 2 guy and the Overwatch team and all that, because you just min maxing like a motherfucker. Well, if you actually get the big prize at the end, especially if you have a huge Twitter social reach, you could more than offset your costs. In fact, the joke is you can use some of the money to pay for your Counter-Strike team at that point.
Well, and we also saw this with Vitality picking up the StarCraft 2 players for very similar reasons, guys. And the reason why also the
StarCraft 2 is so hot right now. It's so hot right now in 2024, guys.
The reason why, even it ingratiates everybody, right? Because basically, like, the teams are gonna pick up rosters to have a better chance at winning parts of this huge prize pool that they're offering for kind of pan game competition. And the developers are going to be happy because basically this keeps their circuits alive. So it looks a lot less embarrassing to fold up the Overwatch League. So Activision Blizzard's going to be happy because they basically, get a low cost marketing engine for the game. And, StarCraft 2, same thing. So somebody else is absorbing all of the cost of this. And because the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is going to encourage good teams to field rosters, potentially it will get some name brands involved on the Overwatch or StarCraft side. It's already working, right? With Vitality in particular on StarCraft that wouldn't have invested before, which gets more eyeballs kind of on the product. So, you have to give it in some ways to Saudi Arabia because they are playing this game extremely well. Like, we just have to be honest. Like, as far as taking advantage of esports winter, they are doing a great job, right?
Even though I know what you mean, it's just I know Richard wasn't prepared for the sentence opening. You have to give it that Saudi Arabia.
It's depressing.
No, it's like,
depressing, but it's impressive.
Listen, I agree. In the context of your sentence, that's obviously totally fine. But it is it is like one of those. That Hitler was a hell of an orator, wasn't he? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but like, what the hell? How does the sentence end? How does it end?
Well, no, it's the thing is, I hate people who quote Drill Wint tweets because he's only funny once every 1,000 tweets. But he's got a tweet like that where he says, you do. The tweet goes, issuing correction on a previous post of mine regarding the terror group ISIS. You do not, under any circumstances, gotta hand it to
him. I love it. That's Isaac.
Okay, Monty. Now you're just doing it in real time. I can't be asked.
Look. If you had to create a very solid game plan about how to get the most out of current esports winter, the Saudis are doing an impressive job. I don't like it, but just looking at it, they are doing things that are going to make the teams very happy in a desperate situation, and some of the publishers happy in a very desperate situation, because the lack of venture capital and the lack of sponsorship means that people are grubbing around for money, and here's an opportunity to get more money, right? It's sad, but this is the Saudis taking advantage of a bad situation and people willing to take the handouts. Right?
No, and I get it. It's just obviously right. Okay, like, I don't know when Saudi stop or want to get out. Like, I don't know what the end stage for them is, what it would look like, what the metrics for success would be. It's very hard because, remember, they're not doing it for any traditional reasons. They're not doing it to make money. They're doing it for something else. So whereas we know, for example, like when we go work at a startup, okay, you got 3 to 5 years. If we're not even close to viability at 3, we're going to shut the whole fucking thing down. We can't really say that for any of this stuff, and this includes obviously like this glorious, Overwatch circuit they're creating, and all the Riyadh Masters and the Road to Riyadh and all that stuff for Dota, and obviously CS and Rocket League and all this other stuff. But it's like, if the entirety of our scene is given over to them, and as I've said, it is my bold prediction that I think they'll be doing League of Legends. I think ESL will be running one or more Riot leagues in the not too distant future, because Riot's business model seems to be all now geared up towards outsourcing for the first time ever. I think what happens when Saudi go, listen, it was fun, this esports stuff, it's super cool, but like, actually we just own Hollywood now, so every fucking movie is just about like anything we want it to be. All the hidden messages are all in there. We've took over the Olympics. We've got the World Cup. that we're bidding for in 2034. Really, the esports isn't moving the dial anymore in the sports washing thing. We're totally normalized. We've locked up all the gays. We've made it so women can't drive again. And no one's saying shit. So just fucking deal with it. Esports was just a lull. And we're out. See ya. And so what happens on that day? And this is why, again, I'm like, I hate all the business decision makers, all the decision makers in esports, all of the people that are driving this industry forward. Because, like, unironically, I had team owners that I've talked to going, you know, for the first time ever, Richard, this is sustainable. Sustainability isn't one guy underwrites everything until they get bored. That is the opposite of sustainability. That is not what sustainable means. And it's very instructive, because then what you realize in that moment is, oh, no wonder esports is fucked. The people who have all been in charge, from the developers to the biggest orgs to the team managers, they don't know what sustainability is. They never knew. They're morons. And so my worry here is everyone's like high-fiving about all these new circuits coming up, and that's fine. If you have no moral objection to Saudi Arabia, by the way, that, you know, that's fine. You do you. But like, what's going to happen in a few years? Let's assume esports actually isn't some significant part of the sports washing cultural phenomenon, and Saudi Arabia move on. What happens then?
Yeah.
No one's thinking about it. No one's talking about it.
Well, we've never never really thought very far in advance in esports.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but like we're only talking a few years here. You know, it's not like crazy.
The real question is like, how close to something resembling sustainable do you get in the interim period? Because, you know, there's a big difference between, you know, like backstopping a 50 million a year burn, 100 million a year burn or more, or like, you know, like some smaller amount. I think from the disclosures that MTG had prior to the deal, I think ESL was losing something like 40 million a year in the last couple of years. ESL and DreamHack combined, and I guess ESEA was part of their reporting as well. And, you know, I think Faceit was marginally positive, like call it like $1 million, but like essentially break even. I'm guessing that they've taken on a bunch more costs since the deal. Obviously, the layout just took place. I don't know how Vindex was doing, but given how long it was rumored that they were being sold and or trying to raise money, I'm guessing that they were still burning money. Like, I can't imagine that they're burning less than they were before the deal. So I'm guessing that they're burning way more currently. So the real question is just like, what does it look like, both in terms of time and in terms of like structural changes needed to get to something closer to zero? Because I agree, like if all of a sudden somebody in the kingdom got bored and decided, hey, I'm going to do something else now, that would be a huge problem right now. The question is like, does something like that start to happen or begin to happen in a year or in 10 years? And like, how far in advance do the people operating the business know about it and have time to adjust? Because I do think the CEO level of leadership of ESL Faceit is great. I think many of the people who are like one level below are like people whose job 20 years ago was to stand behind me when I was playing in these tournaments and tell me not to touch my keyboard when I was dead. And like now they're somehow like the SVPs of that company. So I have my doubts about many of those, but I do think both of the co-CEOs are very good at their job. So like I think there's a way to get there, but you know, like the nightmare scenario is like what Richard alluded to, which is somebody gets bored one day and there's like no clear way out, and you basically just offload it at any price, and in the meantime you just like shut down as much stuff as you can.
Yeah. Also, I mean, just on the Overwatch thing, bringing it back to M80, and then we'll tell the funny story, which isn't really relevant to the topic of the show, but fuck it, it's funny anyway. You know, here's the thing: the Overwatch, the OWCS, right? It's going to be this whole new glorious open circuit. By the way, did you watch their announcement video? You must have.
By the way, I actually can't even believe. I actually thought you were going to do a video on this or something on your stream. I don't know if you have or not. But like, if you don't know, guys, they actually chose someone Oh, I thought you meant the announcement they did on stream.
No,
not
that.
Well,
no,
I'll just mention this though, because this just showed me already that just like, okay, so here's the obvious answer, Monty. In the same way as when it was the Neom deal in Counter-Strike with Blasts, it was a very small, isolated, one-off deal. Everyone on the fucking internet was against it, and it was, of course, it was the right thing to do. But just like with LEC, where the joke is they were making Reddit threads like, it's brilliant, we haven't taken any Saudi money. What's that? We might need to. Well, you know, like people have already done that on every single. They instantly fold. So the maddest part about this Overwatch swap, this is insane, is someone who themselves would not be safe in the country of Saudi Arabia was the one they chose on the mic to make the announcement this is what was coming and how brilliant it is. Now, there's two angles to that. One, what the fuck is that person doing saying that themselves? I can't even comprehend that. And then two, how is that not itself being called out by gay rights activist groups as someone literally using someone as a shield for very bad news if you are those groups? Like, even though I know that wasn't the thing you were referencing, that was meant to be.
I mean, it's the Rainbow Riot stuff all over again.
It was that again, instantly.
I've said, like, it's really funny that there's this sudden wave. I'm calling it trees for deforestation as a philosophy. Like you're just seeing this incredible wave of like LGBT people explaining why actually it's a good thing. It's a good thing because, I mean, like, you know, in the Rainbow Riot story I did, they're like, look, there's canonically gay heroes, and it's in Saudi Arabia, they'll have to pick them, and they'll be on the screen, and everyone in the audience will know they're gay. I'm like, I don't.
To be fair, Richard, I didn't even know that half of those characters were gay, and I work on League of Legends as a primary title.
But that's the final joke of it all. The thing is that the law becomes nebulous when you do what they call what's the term, regionalizing. You know, that you ain't gay in Russia, you ain't gay in Saudi, you ain't gay in China, you ain't even gay in South Korea. But, you know, you're gay in Europe and America, and we know that, right? But then it's like, oh, I'll just go read the law in this language on this website. Oh, okay, right, yeah, not gay. Big case and they're not gays all of a sudden. So anyway, forget that. What I was saying was, right, everyone's talking about the upside and how great it's going to be, you know, this new glorious OWCS. And this is the hilarious part. They announced all the regions, and they covered the Asian region. And I was like, okay, this would be interesting. There was a big country missing. It was very conspicuous by its absence. You might now. I believe it was it the? Yeah, it was China. That was it. It was the People's Republic of China. Not there, not involved in any way, shape, or form. The single largest market for esports and gaming, and actually, as it ended up turning out, fucking Overwatch, because it all sort of swirled down the toilet and just ended up there, right? They're not involved.
China policy. That's
it's a new one. It's a new one from the people who brought you the one China policy. Have you tried it? Right. So anyway, right? Like think about that again, long term. When I don't know the exact month last year when the game was banned. Tomi will know because obviously he had a vested interest in knowing all this stuff about the potential success of the Overwatch League. But anyway, they still haven't resolved the issue to have their games distributed in China yet. And as a result, for this new glorious OWCS, they have to pretend China doesn't exist, which, by the way, how's that for a... Usually you pretend in Taiwan and Tibet don't exist, you fucking spineless pricks. But now, China's not there. The Asian region will encompass all of this. What's that big landmass over there that doesn't have any coloration in it? What's happened there? Why isn't that on the map all of a sudden? It looks like a... So I to my point, I think the specter over anything involving Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, as an esport, until you resolve the China issue, the revenue impairment that they've got in these projects is ridiculous. And you're not truly global unless you've got that Chinese acceptance, which was why everybody fell in line in the first place to get in the region.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.